topics of lexical approach. I'm sorry. This is what we've come to talk about today with you, and I will be really happy to talk about the things that I really love and care about. And I've been with lexical approach for more than, I think, 4 years now, and I've done many seminars, webinars, and workshops on that. So if in case in the audience there are some people who have already heard me like there or here speaking on lexical approach, I hope you'll find something new. But basically, let's just revise, repeat. A teacher needs a reminder, that's for sure. And this is the end of school year, so I think it would be nice to revise everything and to get inspired with some new ideas. So first of all, a few words about my way into lexical approach. My way actually started with, I think, as with many of us, with Hugh Deller and Andrew Walkley, and their book Teaching Lexical, which I can advise to read just seriously. And of course, throughout the years, I've been trying out different methods, techniques, approaches from like that they advise, but I decided that I want to keep it simple, and among all of the various approaches and techniques that they provide us with, I chose the most efficient, as I think, the quickest, as I think, the easiest to come up with no actual preparation, and the ones that I could advise to my teachers in my schools. And I have a lot of teachers in my schools, and if I wanted them to be lexical teachers, I had to find a way for lexical approach to be easy, fun, and time-saving. So this is what I will try to speak to you about today. I'm going to speak about some drills, some easy made exercises which you can just come up with during your lesson, or which you can specifically plan into your lessons, of course. And just we are going to do them, so I hope you will be active. I also have a question for the organizers, kind of for the hosts. Is there a chance that the listeners can speak, or we can't do that? We can't ask them to speak. I think we can't ask them to turn on their microphones like in Zoom and stuff like this. Is it only the reactions in the chat and the fires? Please, anybody? I think there is. Evgenia? No? I think we don't have an answer. Okay. Evgenia?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. We cannot involve the listeners, right, into dialogues and stuff like this in this app.
I think no, but we can write.
Okay. That will make a huge difference to me, actually. But okay, let's try. Okay, so I'm going to try to imitate the stuff. Okay, I don't think that the chat would be helpful, but let's try to imitate that. So
you can use me. I'll try.
Okay, yes, actually, and if Alexandra can join us, it would be just at least vocally, not with the video. It would be also really nice. So I have two students and the teacher managing it all. Okay, so let's start with some rules of a lexical teacher. Of course, there are lots of them. It's philosophy and blah, 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 blah. But I'm going to make it short and quick. No theory aboard. We are going to be really quick with theory. So lexical doesn't mean vocabulary. This is the first stereotype that everybody has to break, kind of. We typically hear lexical approach, lexis mean vocabulary, so it's about vocabulary. No, it's about everything. It's the whole approach to the language teaching. And it's just really like involving all the aspects. Grammar can appear as vocabulary. This is one of the most favorite ideas of lexical approaches. Is grammar actually so much different from vocabulary? And we are going to discuss that just a bit later. Lexical approach imitates natural process of learning a language. This is my favorite thing about that, and this is what I always say, that naturally we never ever like young children acquiring our own language, the native one, we never actually start with the rules, we never start with the grammar, we just start with imitating, and in this way everything is vocabulary, grammar and lexis, all of that. Naturalness is essential, and you see I have a special sticker for naturalness, so we are going to cover it. No single words, chunks. This is, of course, I think the second most, most famous word which we associate with lexical approach is chunks, right? Chunks everywhere, only chunks. So this is actually it, and I'm gonna first speak about chunks. So in chunks we can think of two main types of them, which are collocations and collocations. So now let's try to involve each other in the chat. Okay, so I think you can just send in your answers in the chat. I will try to make it like that so I can see the chat. Okay, so you will try to send me your answers. I'm reading a phrase, and you have to write either it's like you write one if it's a collocation and two if it's a collocation, as you think, and we will see if you remember the difference from the I don't know, university maybe or something like that. So have a dream. Do you think it's a collocation or a collocation? Let's see. Like we have some answers appearing. Thank you very much for taking part. We have 1, 2, 1. We have okay, 3 answers, 4 answers right now. Okay, okay, one more answer. Thank you. 2. So we have different answers. Okay, now please stop typing in your answers about have a dream. Let's go to have a huge row. Have a huge row. What is that? Is it a collocation 1 or a collocation 2? So we have the answers 1, 1. Okay, 1. So 1 is coming just like, and the full answers. Okay, thank you. Now let's have a look at have you ever. Is it a collocation or a colligation? Okay, now I can see a lot of 2s appearing there. Okay, let's have 1 more, I think, or 2 more. Let's see. I gotta go. I gotta go. What is that? A collocation or a colligation? Okay, 1, 2, 2. Okay. Okay, let's have the last one. Have a shower. Which is that? 1 or 2? Have a shower. Okay. 2. Okay, 1, 2. So let me explain that. Okay, let me make it clear. So in the basic of lexicology, collocations are phrases and expressions which are united by lexical meaning, by semantics. So it means that if you just divide them, they may have different meanings which are not connected in any way. So here we have the examples, like the pure examples of collocations, which are have a dream, have a huge row, have a shower, have money, have no money, but this is a tricky one. Okay, so these are collocations. Collocations are the unities which are united by grammatical meaning, not only by the grammatical meaning, but they have a grammatical relation in any way. So have you ever is that we can actually say that it's a collocation as they appear together like this only in the specific grammar kind of surrounding, like, or with a specific grammatical requirement or something like that. I gotta go is actually tricky, as gotta is a colligation, but it's actually not. It's just two words united in one. But go, right, it appears really often with I've got to go, I have to go. So we can say that it's a collocation, but at the same time, the unity of these semantics and this grammar, which is the form, right, it's all together at the same time as a collocation and a colligation. The same stuff is happening with have no money. So a collocation would be have money, right? But we add a grammatical word, a pronoun, which starts bringing us some grammatical meaning as well. So that's why we can call it a collocation and a colligation at the same time. And I had to, these are all grammatical forms. So that means they are colligations. So with these examples, I wanted to show you that actually we mostly see some of the grammar as vocabulary. And I'm really sure that you all drill with your students this, have you ever blah, 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 have you ever blah, 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 have you ever something else. And with this exercise, we are actually working with have you ever as with vocabulary. And this is what lexical grammar is about. If you have any questions, you can actually write them in the chat. In the chat, I can already see some. It seems like colligations don't give an image in our minds. They look like something has to be finished. Totally. Colligations do not have any semantical and lexical meaning. They mostly have the grammatical one. And the grammatical one needs something more, right? Something else. Thank you so much for your comments. So now let's talk about naturalness. Naturalness is another important idea. As we said, the lexical approach is all about imitation of the natural process of learning a language, right? So that's why as it's natural, all should be natural, right? So if you want to teach something, or if you want to drill something, if you want to give an example to your students, for example, you have to always check yourself and the course book that you have specifically, asking yourself 3 questions: when might they use it, who might they say it to, and where they may say it. So when, who, and where, these are the ideas, the questions that you have to check. For example, I have Nikki is writing a letter, or I'm watching YouTube. So these are the examples which, for example, a teacher might produce for the present continuous. Which one is going to be more natural? By natural, we mean relevant to the student and relevant to the modern language. Of course, the second one, as like if we are thinking about the target audience, which is teenagers, for example, or anybody, we now don't write letters so much, almost never, but we all watch YouTube from time to time or often, right? So another example is she's arrived and she's here. This is an example for the naturalness according to the level of the students, right? So imagine that we are teaching A2 students, and it's going to be no use to teach them she's arrived. They don't need it on this level. Arrive is quite formal and not so frequent as come, for example, right? So she's here will be a really nice one to teach, a more natural one according to the level of the students. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to have that. So this is one of my favorite examples that everywhere, every book they teach, I'm going to buy it. Of course, we realize that they're teaching the standard language, which is on TV and blah, blah, blah. But really, like rarely you can find the examples with gonna, which is much more frequent than going to, if you listen to the native speakers, of course. So that's why each time I'm covering going to with my students, I would also find some listening material or video material to also give them gonna, as it's specifically, and it's really, really natural. And this is important for me as a lexical teacher, okay? And we have another comment, I'm checking, you see. I actually hate the words like lorry or ferry because children never use it anywhere except English lessons. Unfortunately, we have lots of that. We have lots of that. And again, at the same time, if we think about the most of our students, most of them will actually never use English outside the classroom, right? As their parents want them to learn English, or they never travel and some stuff like this. So this is a dubious thing, actually. Like if you only try to teach them what they are going to use, this is kind of like teach them Russian then, right? But no, we can't do that. So that's why we imagine, right? We imagine the chance of them using that. And of course, lorry, ferry, yes, I think ferry would be nice as, for example, the people who are immigrating right now, for example, to Germany, they have to ride a ferry. And it would be nice for them to, for example, know this word in English if it comes to that, okay? Or something like that. Lorry, I just can say that all these specific words, like when I went to the USA for work, there I realized that I don't know anything about the daily English vocabulary, like all these things for hygiene, what you can buy in the shop for yourself, except for like the basic things. So, and there I realized that the best way to learn the specific lorry and ferry is actually not in the classroom, but at the place, right? So that's why, for example, upper intermediate levels, they like to give these tools, like various tools, like clips, pins, and etc. And I always hate this topic, as my students, we don't have a chance to kind of do anything about them in the classroom. It's best to learn these words when you use these tools, right? And stuff like this. So that's why that's a nice idea. Okay, so now we are going to have a little bit of practice again with naturalness. And here I have a screenshot from New Frontiers 4. Like we are going to have the screenshots from the real books that we are working with. So New Frontiers 4, and we have a set of vocabulary here. So you see, it's not a low level. We have society, social improvement, unemployment, necessary, illegal, bullying, and homeless. So my task for you is to write in the chat the words that you wouldn't like to pay a lot of attention to among these set. One word or two words, like the words which you think your students would be able to live without. But of course, there are a lot of words here which are really essential. So please, can you text your ideas? Bullying, unemployment and homeless, unemployment. Okay. So actually, while like you can still write in your answers there, but I'm gonna say that there are two ways we choose vocabulary for drilling. The first idea is, of course, vocabulary which can be understood easily, or my students have a chance to know already. Bullying, it's an international word now, so I'm sure my students know it. I'm not going to drill that too much. Illegal, also kind of, it can be understood, and I'm sure that my students will associate it quickly with нелегальный and stuff like that, and we don't have to drill it too much. Social also, социальный, pretty much easy. About unemployment, my thought would be another way of thinking this way is that have my students got a big chance of speaking about unemployment just right now, or in 3 years time, 5 years time? Have they got this chance? Like if I'm thinking about my students of, I don't know, like the 7th year of school, no, I don't think that they're interested in that. But have they a chance to use society? Totally. Necessary? Yes. Improvement? Nice. homeless, yeah, they really use it in their speech. So I would choose for drilling here, I would choose necessary, society, improvement, and homeless. These are the words that I would like specifically drill later. Let me check the chat. Yes, they have, for example, with tourists coming to Russia and asking about jobs. Okay, maybe, but like, again, it's all pretty subjective. And while I'm choosing it, I'm thinking about my students. You know your students, I know mine. So thinking about my students, I can say that my students are not talking to native speakers coming to Tumen, for example. I was asked many times about employment rates in Russia. Yeah, okay, so yeah, but the thing is that I'm just giving you an example with my choice, the same choice that you made. And this is also a very important lexical rule, is that you should avoid overteaching and drilling everything the book gives you. The book gives you a lot, so that's why we have to manage all of that. Okay, so I hope you understood the ideas, or just revised the ideas of chunks with lexical approach and naturalness. These are the most important, the crucial rules that I wanted to remind you of. So now, as you can see the board, I have vocabulary drills, I have grammar drills, and if we have time, we are going to cover translation drills as well. So don't expect anything like that. I told you it's going to be simple, surprisingly simple, and it's still going to be lexical approach. And I hope you will see that, and you will say to yourself that, okay, I actually use it daily, and this would be a nice reminder that you are actually a lexical teacher, right? So let's go to vocabulary drills, okay? And we have two examples. One example is word digging, and the second is pick a word one. So word digging is going to be a bit advanced. It's a good drill for higher level students, or for example, for students who are preparing for GEICA. And pick a word is actually for everyone. It's you can start it with really young learners, actually. So with vocabulary drills, we can practice target vocabulary or emerged vocabulary. It doesn't matter. So let's start with the first drill. And with this drill, I also have a screenshot from New Frontiers 5, and here we are going to deal with emerged vocabulary. So you don't see a vocabulary set here. So me as a teacher, or maybe my students, this is also a nice exercise, will choose the chunks or the words that we would like to practice here, and we are going to do a 3-step drill. And the steps of this drill are to create a chunk, if it's not a chunk initially, to create context, and context is something, words that might appear in the same story, in the same situation with the chunk that we are covering, and to create context, which is a finalized monologue or dialogue, like the process of speaking. So, for example, let's look at the text, and I'm going to show you one way and the second way. So the first way would be me as a teacher, I'm looking through the text, or maybe I'm doing that when I'm preparing for the lesson, and I'm choosing several chunks which my students are going to drill after all the exercises with the text. Okay, so I'm looking now and I find a nice one, make predictions, right? So I've already done the first step, I found the chunk, and we all remember the chunk now. So now please, in the chat, can you brainstorm and text some words or phrases which might appear in the same situation, in the same story, with a phrase, with a chunk, make predictions? Can you? Future, totally. Anything else? Don't think about only the meaning of predictions. Try to imagine a story, possibility, okay. for example, buy a new car. Does it make sense to you? Like why I have it here? Fortune teller, that's also a nice idea, actually, yes. It can be anything. Exams maybe, fail or pass, totally. So this is, you see, the only goal that we are heading towards with this section of the drill is that the students have to brainstorm a lot of vocabulary, phrases, grammatical constructions, even sentences that they already know. And this is the idea that the language is always recycled with this exercise. And if any one of you has ever worked with lexical books, like, I don't know, just anything with the books which include lexical approach, they have such exercises inside of that, okay? So now we have, let me have a look at the words that you have. And now a task for me, I'm the student now, a task for me is to unite all of this, our chunk, and the words that we've brainstormed, unite into one story. Let's make it a monologue like that. So I can say something like, last week, my mom took me to see a fortune teller as we want to know my future and the possibilities that are ahead of me. And she told me, she made a lot of predictions. This is the chunk. And she said that I will buy a new car and I will not fail any of my exams. Something like that. You see, so this is actually a longer way to just free speaking, with speaking random stuff, with making up a story, but the way is longer and it is specifically divided into steps. So each step is linguistically productive, right? So we do something. We don't just give the student just, here's the chunk, make up a story with the chunk. We actually help the student as a class. We help the student with these phrases and words. And it will be also nice to work in groups like that and to give the same chunk and the same set of words that you've brainstormed, the same set of code text to each of the students. And then they have to say, like, speak with their stories. And you will see that the stories may be different or similar. And this is also really nice to notice and discuss like that, okay? So the same thing is really helpful and useful if you ask your students to choose the chunks themselves. And this exercise is actually noticing. The name of that is noticing. And with this, we're teaching our students to actually like interact with the language materials that we give to them. So for example, my students are going to do the same thing and they're going to scan the text for the chunks that they like or they don't know or that they can't understand and stuff like this. So please now, as students, imagine that you are students, and please can you type some chunks, like one chunk from each of you that you would like to like choose from the story if you were a student. Future in the past. So students can choose their own chunks, of course. Yes, first they're going to fail. They're going to fail and they're going to, for example, give you something like, I don't know, tell you about, kind of, is it a chunk? No, kind of, it's just something like that, okay? Or they will try to say something like made between, but it's not a chunk. But then while trying it again and again and showing the nice example, you will teach your students to do that. And it is also nice so they can, for example, when they're writing a test, like an international exam or you they can also notice chunks in the kind of exercises of the written section of the exam and then use it in their writing or speaking, for example. So this is the same idea. Okay, so similar to blood type, health conditions, figure out, make connections. Okay, so please don't be offended. I'm gonna deal with you now as a lexical coach, right? And I'm gonna try to teach you, and I would teach my students the same, right? So make connections is okay. So is it just like that in the text? Make connections, okay? The thing that I would also love to do is I would like to modify the chunks, for example, to make the chunk longer. For example, I would like if my student chose make connections, I would advise him to like make, I don't know, necessary connections, for example, if we're talking about connections with people, right, or something like that. So it is also nice to practice modification with your students at the same time, and you can actually modify the chunks all together as well. To figure out, the problem is that I would never give two before figure out as an example. Why? As it's not natural. Like the chance of yes, you can say I'm trying to figure out, I want to figure out, yes, but basically we mostly use a verb in the speech and in the grammatical form, not as an infinitive, right? So that's why I'm gonna just take figure out, and it is too little for the chunk. So I will try to either find in the text the noun which goes after it, or we will also brainstorm the noun with the group. So we have to create a full chunk, and this is the first step. So we will say something like figure out a solution, figure out the meaning, or something like that. Articles are also important. Health conditions, that's a nice chunk. Blood type, I would also say my blood type. I would give the pronoun as we mostly use it about us or about somebody. What is your blood type? My blood type is blah blah blah. So you have to give the full chunk, and by the full chunk we mean all the words that are frequently used in one group, right? Similar to, yeah, okay, but I would also add like is similar to at least, so my students will see that we use it with the to be, and we have to change it, but not be similar to, as be similar to is not frequent. Is similar to is more frequent than be similar to. Connections made in the text. Okay, yes, but you see that by my example, I'm giving you the idea that you can take the chunk that you gave me totally, or you can modify it if you have time and you want to do that with your students. Be appropriate for. So the thing is that, as I said already, be appropriate for is not frequent. Is appropriate for is more frequent, or at least take the verb from the text. Maybe it's are, okay? Figure out is just a phrasal verb, not a chunk. Not a chunk. No, it's just a verb. A chunk is several words of different parts of speech united by semantics or the grammar, right? Figure out is actually one word, like if you think about it as an English speaker, right? The problem is that using the chunks, even adult students tend to restore the text which they have just read. Okay, okay, just don't get it a little bit. The problem is that using the chunks, even adult students tend to restore the text which they have just read. So you think they refer to the text and to the phrase like context that was in the text. Do you mean that? Suitable for you, me, yeah. And this is all like, and this is nice that you gave me suitable for you, me, not suitable for somebody. This SMB. Lexical teachers also try to not to use this kind of formulas, and you have to use the actual words that people might say and that they have a bigger chance to say. And suitable for you or suitable for me is really frequent like that. Okay, so let me just choose one. Okay, I'm gonna choose one, and we are gonna brainstorm the call text. Blood type, let's choose this one, blood type. Can you please now brainstorm the call text, which is words or phrases which might appear in the same story with this chunk? Quickly, let's do that. We don't have much time and we have a lot of drills to do. blood type, right? And the words or phrases which might appear in the same story. So you have to try to imagine the story already. Hospital, totally. Associations are nice here. You just give the associations with the word. Hospital, transfusion, good. Transfusion. Intensive care unit, amazing. Thank you so much for your nice ideas. So just the story is getting wow. Just like we have a tragedy going on, right? Okay. Accident. So you see, obviously we are having a tragedy. Blood type on the sleeve, right? And we can just sing it as Tsoi did. Okay. Blood type on the sleeve. Okay. So I think that's enough, right? So okay, I'm again going to give you an example of what I would require my students to do, right? They would do something like, the other day I went to the hospital to have my blood transfusion and to check my blood. What is that? Blood. I just forgot the word blood type. I'm sorry. To check my blood type, as my brother-in-law had an accident and now he's in intensive care unit and he needs my blood. And at the end, I will sing blood type on the sleeve, something like that. Okay. So this is what it is. Of course, if we have a group of students and they are going to brainstorm a lot of course, it might be difficult for students A2, B1. I told you that this drill is best for higher level students and for students who are preparing for yoga, but they have a nice level, of course. But you see, the chunks can be easier. We have a text which is not low level. The chunks might be easier. The initial text where you're choosing from might be easier. So, and the chunk might be have a shower. And to brainstorm co-text with have a shower is brush my teeth, put on my clothes, and this is the story for A2. Every morning I have a shower, brush my teeth, and like choose my clothes and something like that. So you see, it all depends on the language that we are dealing with. But thank you very much for like being so active in the chat. I really appreciate that, as we don't have a chance to speak, right? So now let's not like waste. I want to say waste, but is it a waste of time? No, I don't think so. So let's not keep it any longer, and let's do a drill which is called pick a word drill, speaking about low-level students. This is a really nice drill to make lower level students finally speak something. Like in my school, I have I've got to be honest with you. If you're teaching in a school, if you're working in a school, you have to be honest and say that students really have a problem with speaking, especially low level, and it's really hard to do something, to plan something into a lesson that will make our students speak. Or if you plan something which requires students speaking, it takes a long time and stuff like this, and it doesn't happen. And especially since the online lessons and hybrid lessons came into our life, the parents are listening. Like when the student is online, the parent is listening, maybe listening, right? And the thing that we want to do, we want to the student to actually speak something. But when we know that the student cannot produce their own ideas yet, we have to help them with lexical approach. So we can see a set of food vocabulary from another book. Yeah, and I prepared, let's imagine that it's on the board like that. I've prepared the beginnings of the sentences. And we imagine that we've already covered the vocabulary with the students. We've practiced it, repeated it. The pronunciation is fine. They just understand it now. So the thing that I would ask my students to do is to finish these sentences, okay? So now let's try to see, Evgenia, are you here with us? At least the microphone. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you so
Yes,
much.
I'm
Amazing. We are going to do that. So Evgenia, can you please complete the first sentence? You choose a word and complete the first sentence.
Okay. For breakfast, I like bananas. Why not?
Bananas, totally. Now, like, please stay a little bit longer, okay? Like, you complete one sentence, I'm complete another, and we just go it one by one like that. I never eat fish.
Oh, I like fish. My favorite food is fish and cheese. Actually,
Fish
I like cheese.
and cheese. Okay, I like
Yes.
cheese too. Amazing. Okay. I hate eating. That's hard, right? I hate eating. Okay, fish again. I hate eating fish.
Wow. Right now, I'd like potatoes. I
Okay,
adore potatoes.
good. Amazing. And I can cook meat. Let's keep it this way. Okay.
Well,
That's all. So this is we kind of tried the circle, okay, of this kind of one student says one thing, another student says the other thing. But you see, I have this check memory, which is like just completing these ideas doesn't make it a drill. What makes it a drill is repeating that as much as you can. So the idea of lexical approach is that the target language that you want to drill with your students has to be repeated all over again during the class or even several classes. So please, what we will do is the rules of repeating, right? The rule of repeating, number one, is that the teacher has to ask the students questions which include the things that we drill. Actually, with this you can see that we drill food, and at the same time it's like, I think, present simple, even ing form after hate, can, would like, and stuff like this. So we included like different grammar. So please, Evgenia, can you tell me, no, this is actually a bad start. So if you ask, can you tell me, that means that you need a reported sentence after this. And this is gonna just be a problematic space. Like, can you tell me what does Alexei, somebody would like to make a mistake. So let's do it like that. So Evgenia, what does Alexei never eat? Can you answer?
Well, yes, I can answer. I remember because it was surprising for me.
Okay.
You never eat fish.
But you say he. I asked you about him, so you say he never, kind of in the third form. Yeah.
Yeah, he never eats fish.
Okay. What does Alexei hate eating?
Alexei hates eating fish.
Marvelous. And what can Alexei cook?
Alexei can cook meat.
Thank you very much. Amazing. I'm clapping. Thank you. Okay, so now I'm going to explain that. So you see, if we have a group of students, of course, we are going to have a full round and each student is going to say a sentence. What I would do as a lexical teacher, I always carry a special notebook for drills with myself. And I'm writing my students' answers. Why? As I want to repeat it later in a few classes, maybe next class, maybe in 2 classes like that. And I will start my lesson just by asking, Evgenia, what does Alexei never eat? Can you remember that? And Evgenia will answer.
You hate eating fish.
Something like that, right? So, and I will make my students remember that, of course. And this is also a nice way to save the time for your lessons, as the old drill from one of the previous lessons can nicely be repeated again, and it's actually really productive in terms of the repetition, as they repeat the nice constructions, the nice language, at the same time practicing the vocabulary. This is one way. Okay, thank you very much, Evgeny. Now you can turn off your microphone for just a little bit, and I'm gonna ask you again with the grammar drills. Okay.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
nice. So you see, this is easy. I'm sure that every one of you does these exercises where you have to complete something. But do you repeat it and do you revisit it really often? This is the idea that, and I always explain my older students, even the younger ones, if they ask me, why are we repeating the same stuff all over again 3 times? Like, the student said it once, then the teacher asks about it, and then I have to say it again. And I say, just follow my instructions, right? But no, I'm gonna explain that actually when we were kids, younger ones, right? When we were acquiring the language, we did the same thing. We just noticed and repeated, and this is what we imitate here. Okay, so this is actually all of the examples of vocabulary drills, as I wanted to pay more attention to the grammatical ones. But actually, it doesn't matter. The drills as frames can be used to anything, to vocabulary, to grammar, to phrases, to phrasal verbs, anything you want to drill. So in the grammar, you see we have more of them. So we're going to be really fast here. We're going to do, I think, 1 or 2, and all the others I'm going to just explain. So for grammatical drills, we use grammar in context. We speak a little, as I told you, we say at least something, and remember at least something, at least these sentences that they repeated. And when they come out of the classroom and mom or dad asks them, what did you learn today? They can at least repeat what you drilled with them, and this is a really nice thing. And I even do that with my university students, as I also teach at Tumen State University, and it's not easy to teach students. They skip classes, they are late from time to time, and of course I need just to do at least something, so I drill with them a lot so they can like finish this semester of university and at least have some sentences and phrases in mind, right? It's a nice change of activity, and it's fun, and the students are talking about themselves, which is also fun, right? And regular, all the drills, especially the grammatical ones, should be regular. You have to revisit the drill at least 3 times. This is the best amount. I've experimented with that. With the 3rd time, like the God loves, right? With the 3rd time, the students just do it automatically. They already remember it really well. And you should have a break and then revisit it again in some time, right? So let's take, I'm just going to show you the finish the sentence ones, and we are going to deal with add a sentence and change it. I like them too. So finish the sentence is easy, right? So you see, I also have a screenshot from a real book, and we are practicing much and many, and we've done this exercise, and then I want my students to kind of speak with that. So I have this, how much do you eat every day? So it's just the same thing. It's easy. They have to think of a noun, but of course they have to think about an uncountable noun or a countable plural, and they ask each other these questions. We are also drilling here like much or many, a lot, maybe adding that, right? But of course it looks basic, but you have to repeat that. So for example, you like one of the students completes the sentence, how much sugar do you eat every day? The other students answer, the other student answers like full answer, seriously, right? I eat a lot of sugar every day, or I don't eat a lot of sugar every day, or at least okay, if they're really low level, much or a lot or something like that, right? And then when we are revisiting that again, just after the drill, you ask like, Oля, can you remember, please tell me, how much sugar does Vasya eat every day? Or something like that. And they have to remember the students' answers. And you see, you as a teacher, you kind of re-ask it again, right? Something like that. This is easy. Finish the sentence 2 is also like easy. Here we have nice, actually, I paid attention to the nice specification of let, make, and have. I don't come across it really often, that they have a special kind of box like that to practice them as a group. So this is the same idea. So in the previous drill, we completed something inside. With this drill, we complete the rest of the sentence. And it's the same thing. So for example, Vasya, complete sentence number 1. And he says, my parents always make me clean the floor. It would be also nice not to just say, Vasya, complete sentence number 1. It would be also nice to drill it. Vasya, what do your parents always make you do? And then Vasya asks, my parents always make me clean the floors. And then when the drill is done and you ask other students, you say, guys, what do Vasya's parents always make him do, right? Something like, and they say, Vasya's parents always make him clean the floors, right? So you see it's 4 times repeated. The structure is repeated 4 times during one exercise. This is nice. And if you revisit it later in the next lessons for 3 times, amazing, right? And you see I have the examples. I sometimes have my friend and stuff like that. Let's check the chat. I said so. I'm sorry, I haven't checked the chat for some time. For breakfast, I like omelet. I hate eating. Like you complete the sentence. Okay, right now I'd like a flute of Prosecco. Good. He never eats fish. You're writing your answers here. It's amazing. You can go on writing. It will help you build the associations. But I said so. I don't understand the commentary. I said so. What? Okay. You mean now I see that, right? Okay. So the next drill that we are going to pay more attention to is, which again is for a little bit higher levels, I think. We have again a screenshot from New Frontiers, and this is indefinite pronouns. But the idea is more complex here. It's not finish the sentence, it's add a sentence. So you see, I have one sentence where the target grammar is already used. I want to make sure that my students use the target grammar. But if I ask them use it randomly or make up a sentence with the grammar, it would be either not natural or take a long time and stuff like this. So what I want them to do, I want them to prepare to continue the idea. So, and I'm asking, Vanya, can you, I don't think that I can ask a question here. This is not that kind of drill. So I just say, can you add another sentence after the first one? Vasya says, on my holiday, I liked everything. I enjoyed swimming in the sea. That's all. It can be another sentence or it can be a part of the sentence, like on my holiday, I liked everything, especially swimming in the sea. Masha, number 2, Masha says, I don't know anyone here. They have to say the first sentence out loud. This is essential. I don't know anyone here. They're all strangers. Something like that, right? I have nothing. I'm gonna kill myself. I've got nothing to do. Please take me out. I go everywhere with my friends, to nightclubs, to shops, and to dangerous places. Something like that. I have something for you. Look, this is a present. Something like that. And then I'll just ask my students to repeat what others said. Of course, like, Olga, what did Vasya say? Vasya said that on his holiday, he liked everything, and they have to change it so it's he, not just repeating it after him. On his holiday, he liked everything, especially swimming in the sea. And Olga, what did Olga say? She doesn't know anyone here. They're all strangers. So you see, at the same time, we are always, by repeating and changing forms, we revise the grammar as a whole, right? Revising the old topics, the previous topics, not just practicing the one that we are doing now, but showing our students that topics are not separate. They are all, the language is a mixture like that, okay? I hope it's understandable. If it's not understandable, please let me know in the chat if my examples are not understandable, right? If it's kind of just too quick or something. On my holiday, I liked everything except my resort. Yeah, why not? Good, great. So, and another drill is change it. I love it really much. And I have an example for a high level, but it can be easily done for low levels as well. So we have a screenshot again with some grammar for conditional type 2. And I have prepared sentences for my students. And thank you that everything is clear. I can see that. And I'm asking my students to change the sentences so they're true to them or to their opinion. And I read, if I was a teacher, I'd give a lot of homework. Vasya, what would you change here? And Vasya said, if I was a teacher, I wouldn't give a lot of homework. So he changes it in any way. He can replace words. He can change the negative forms and stuff like that. But he changes it and he uses the conditional sentence in his speech. And you can actually record that and send to the parent and say, look, he's speaking, right? But isn't it speaking? It's speaking, but it's not free speaking yet, but it's at least speaking, right? If like Olga, can you complete the second one? I would choose a dog if I decided to have a new pet. Olga says, I would choose a cat if I decided a new pet to have. And if Olga doesn't want to change it, she doesn't change it. She just reads it. I would choose a dog. It's up to her. It's her opinion, right? I could change my hair. If I could change my hair color, I would go with brown. I would go with blonde. Like we are changing it already. And you can change some sentences in the chat if you like about yourself. Choose a sentence and change it. On her holiday, she liked everything, especially Thai dishes. Okay. Can you change some sentences about you? And of course, when my students have done all the sentences, I'm gonna ask again, Vasya, can you remember Olga's sentence? And he said, she would choose a cat if she decided to have a pet. Or if Vasya was a teacher, he wouldn't give a lot of homework. So you see, again, we are trying to change the form, and in case something changes between the verb and the subject, like we can see that and we practice that. It works especially nice with this S for present simple always, if we are drilling the present simple like that. Let's see if you have any sentences. If I were a teacher, oh, I'm mistaken. It can be anything, any sentence. You can choose any sentence you like and make it true about you, and we would enjoy your ideas. Okay, it can be anything, 1, 2, 3, or 4. If we are like while I'm waiting for you to write something, okay, I can also say, so the drills can be easier, of course. Like imagine lower level students. The drills can be, the sentences can be, I'm 6, change it. He says, I'm 9, or I like apples. They change, I like, I don't know, grapes, or I don't like apples. So the sentences can be really simple, so the students can change them. And it will be really surprising for the students that they can change the materials that you give, that the materials are not just standing over them like that and saying, practice, but they can actually interact and deal with something. And this is also really enjoyable. Okay, I can't see any variance from you. I think you've already tired. It's the evening, right? In Tumen, it's 21:11. And I think like some of you are tired as well. Like I'm pretty tired. Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up. So these are all just some of the examples. The drills, they are numerous, they are different, and I'm sure, I hope that you've come up with some ideas now of the drill, of the typical exercises that you do daily with your students, which you can turn to drills by just repeating them, re-asking, and all of this recycling inside the classroom, right? So you see any exercise, and this is the magic that I'm teaching my teachers in my school. I'm sorry for teaching my teachers, right? The magic is that you can easily turn any exercise from the book into a speaking exercise, not just writing. So you just see this is like open the brackets exercise or complete the sentence. So you can not make up your own ideas, but you can use the materials that are there and change them into a speaking drill, okay? And this is already grammar, vocabulary, speaking, everything in one, all in one, okay? Nice. So I hope, like, I'm not going to tell you about translation. You can ask me on my Instagram. I'm going to give you my Instagram accounts just in a few seconds, and you can ask me. I can send you the videos with my students, but these are the easy two-sided translation drills like that, okay? So for the summary, okay, just answer to yourself, what are the general rules for drills? I mean, what is it with the steps of drills, right? And when can you drill? And which drills can you remember from our webinar today? Just answer it to yourself. And I hope everybody gets some answers and some ideas and something stayed. Maybe something was useful, I hope so. And maybe you just revised and recycled, okay? So if you want more, I have... you can find some videos on YouTube on lexical approach, a nice video which is called 5 Golden Rules of Lexical Approach by Hugh Deller. This is a nice video. I also like teaching a little lexically a webinar series, which is kind of, you can just have a screenshot and then try to find it. And of course, the book, if you haven't read it yet, I'm sorry, I have a typo. Teaching Lexically by Hugh Deller and Andrew Walkley. This is a book that changed my life some years ago, and at least it changed my classes. It changed the classes in my school, and it gave me a chance to be the speaker on lexical approach many times, right? So, and the last slide that I'm going to share is the context, okay? Contacts, I'm sorry, you see, the context is everywhere. So you can join me on Instagram. I would be really happy. On my Instagram, I'm pretty active. As the same in VK, just the same thing. And I have a lot of discussions there, share my lessons, my ideas, my experience of the academic director of the chain of schools, blah, blah, blah. You can email me if you want. And I have 2 QRs here. One QR is for our Telegram channel for teachers and heads of schools. Nothing special, it's just about the, like, we have selections of webinars there. We just communicate and stuff like that. So I hope the webinar was really helpful. If you can send me your feedback on the chat, I would really appreciate that. At the end of the long working day, we all need some emotions, some praise. Thank you very much. I already follow you on Instagram. I'm really happy that you do. Amazing. So joined your Telegram. Thanks. So thank you very much all for being so active in the chat, for giving me feedback, and I hope to see you on the 8th of October in St. Petersburg at the Teach Me More conference. I'm going to be speaking about something different, which is the art of creative teaching, but this is another topic which I really love, and I'm going to just be like, I don't know, bursting there. It's really emotional. Thank you so much. I'm clapping for you. Thank you, Евгения.
Спасибо большое, Алексей. Это было потрясающе. Я совершенно потрясена вашей презентацией. Какая-то она высокотехнологичная. Я такого еще ни разу не видела.
Здорово. Да, удивляет.
Здорово. Дорогие коллеги, я думаю, что вам тоже понравилось, так же, как и мне. Я, честно говоря, давно уже не преподаю, но я прям с интересом все это слушала и прям захотелось опять преподавать. Но нет, удержусь. Значит, коллеги, я сейчас в в чат отправлю ссылку на конференцию, чтобы вы могли еще почитать поподробнее о ней и решить, придете вы к нам или нет. Но вообще я очень рекомендую, это будет событие в LT-сфере. И также я приглашаю вас подписаться на нашу группу ВКонтакте. Мы там проводим эфиры с нашими спикерами сейчас, уже провели эфир с Викторией Шестко и с Александрой